and gentlemen, welcome to the Mckillop Theatre Larne for the 2014 Larne Borough Sports Awards. Please give a warm welcome to your host for this evening, local boy, Mr. Ronan Kelly. Enough. My goodness, they asked me to run up here tonight onto the stage, and I decided not to, in case you thought it was Mckillop. Anyway, gosh, I'm knackered. I was in the gym today working in those machines, the vending machines. Busy, 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 but as I was just saying there to one of our special guests this evening, this is always a wonderful evening, and tonight most certainly will be no exception. So, officially, Mayor Wilson, aldermen, councillors, special guests, ladies and gentlemen, fellow athletes. As I said 2 years ago, sumo wrestling does count. Welcome to the 9th Larne Borough Sports Awards, the 9th Sports Awards. Anybody from outside the town tonight, known locally as runners? Anybody from outside the town tonight? Good to see it. So, fair you to Larne. Falls you go, Laharna. Welcome to Larne. We're trilingual in this town, you see. Anyway, tonight we're going to show you the cream of what Larne has to offer by way of sport. And we'll get to that very shortly. But first of all, I'd like to extend a special welcome to our award nominees here tonight. You've probably been reading all about them in the Larne Times. We've also got many of our past Hall of Fame recipients. I'm delighted to that. We'll get a chance to talk to them during the evening as well. And of course we have, as I said earlier, got other special guests here with us this evening. Anyway, nice to be down in the town. Anyone coming into the town today will of course notice our new road, which is almost near completion. Very, very impressive, yeah? Yeah. But I don't know if any of you have gone out of the town and you've been either heading up in the direction of Belfast or coming down into the town. I've travelled that road for many, many years, but now I've sort of lost my bearings on the road. I don't quite know where I am at the moment. Still haven't got used to that. So the question I want to know is, where is George the good living man standing these days? I take it you saw the programme. Don't believe a word of it. But one man who was very angry at George was John Shannon, because George had his tabard on the wrong way. It said, prepare to meet thy God. But on the back it said, Inver Garden Centre, sail now on. So anyway, made it down to the town last weekend, doing a wee bit of work down here, and it was on the main street. And this girl came up to me and she said, have you put in your nomination yet? And I said, what for? She said, the Chip Shop of the Year Award. We're doing it in Larne at the moment. Jack, do I look like someone eats chips? Forget about it. Anyway, I started baffling her with historical information about chip shops in Larne, because whenever I was growing up, our local chip shop up on Waterloo Road was Campbell's, Tommy Campbell's, at the bottom of Waterloo Road. Fabulous chips. And then over at the Fair Hill, you had Jackie Reagan's Step In, another cracker. And then up at the head of the town, and it was my favourite, and that was Tommy Ferguson's. Tommy Ferguson's chip shops, the best chips in Larne at that time. Tommy can tend to be a bit grumpy. One night there was an English lorry driver stopped before heading up to Belfast, and he went in, and Tommy was working away with the pans. And the English lorry driver said to him, fish and chips twice. And Tommy looked up and said, I heard you the first time. But talking of awards and nominations and things like that, Larne hit the headlines recently. Boogaloo and Graham, did you know that the two chickens, Boogaloo and Graham, that won the BAFTA, they were from Larne? And then of course we're about to hit the headlines again, because at the end of the month, free men will be, actually 4 men, but free men of the borough will be conferred, have the freedom of the town conferred to them. Jack, congratulations Jack. Roy Beggs, who's not with us tonight. Who else? We've got Dr. Glover from Glenarm, and Big Noel Rogan, who was very cool about the whole thing when he was told he was going to have the freedom of the borough of Larne. And then he'd get excited when someone said to him that sheep were involved. He asked Danny O'Connor what were you supposed to do with the sheep, and Danny said, I'd just eat them. But anyway, the other big story about the town at the moment, and it's about to happen, I'm led to believe, and I'm with the right people tonight I suppose, that next month we've got the opening of the Gobbins Path. Now that's been an amazing project, and you may have seen some of it on the television recently. Of course there was a wee bit of controversy as well about that, because they're going to put a plaque up. And the idea behind the plaque is to commemorate 300 years, or women who 300 years ago were tried and convicted of witchcraft. Now, I know Jack wasn't too fussed about that one, but don't worry, Jack, there's more news to come. Somebody has been rooting about and discovered that historically there was also a coven of male witches. That's the latest news. Don't worry, Jack, it's a load of warlocks. But if you don't believe in witches, ask Tom, big fiddling Tom Cameron. He was in Island McGee one night and he gave a girl a lift. And she said, Tom, I've something to tell you. And he said, what's that? She said, I'm a witch. Tom says, I go on. She put his hand under his leg and he turned into a lay-by. He was forever cursed, as were the people who bought his CDs. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to move things on here, and I'd like to call upon the Mayor and Chairman of the Larne Borough Sports Forum, Councillor Martin Wilson, to officially open this year's ceremony and, of course, say a few words on behalf of the Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, Martin Wilson.
Thank you, Ronan. Councillors, Chief Executive, special guests, ladies and gentlemen, as Mayor of Larne, I would like to extend a warm welcome to you all as we gather here tonight in this wonderfully decorated Mckillop Theatre. We're here to celebrate the sporting achievements of our local sportswomen and sportsmen of 2014. This event is now our flagship event on our sporting calendar, and I'm delighted to officially open the 2014 Sports Awards ceremony. I stand here tonight in a kind of somewhat unique but privileged position as both Mayor of the Borough and Chairman of Larne Borough Sports Forum. Serving these two roles has filled me with an enormous amount of pride, and I'm thrilled to again see such a strong turnout from the local sporting fraternity to celebrate the borough's sporting success in 2014. You know, we say it every year, and I will certainly say it again, we really do have a wealth of local sporting talent in our borough, regardless of age, gender or ability. Our commitment and dedication to our sport could be compared to that of professional athletes, and that is demonstrated tonight as each of our 10 award categories are fiercely competitive. From a personal point of view, I'm also privileged that I'm able to stand here tonight and address you as the final Mayor of Larne Borough Council, and at a function which actually means so much to me. I have served as a proud Chairman of Larne Borough Sports Forum since it first began almost 10 years ago. And it was a progressive step for Larne Borough Council to have a local sports clubs, along with council representatives, having a sort of positive influence on the shape and direction of local sport. And as we move forward into the new council structure, I hope and implore actually that Mid and East Antrim Borough Council will see the benefits of forums like ours, and will continue to support us going forward and make sure that this type of forum is there for future years. If you've had the opportunity yet to read the programme I referred to it, Larne Borough Council have shown great commitment to the creation of sport for all in the community. We're proud that we can provide so many different people with the same opportunities to get involved in sport and physical activity, and support them to get to where they want to go, whether it is for enjoyment, social, health or elite purposes. The commitment to sport shown by Larne Borough Council will leave a tremendous legacy, I believe, throughout our communities and our borough, and I'm sure our new council will continue this on from April. From the formation of Larne Borough Sports Forum came this wonderful evening, and it is without doubt one of the most enjoyable evenings on our local sporting calendar. Tonight, it gives me great pleasure to welcome our special speaker, guest speaker, Dr. Mckillop. We're thrilled to have Michael and his partner Nicole with us, not only because Michael's famous achievements in world athletics, but also for the fact that he also represents one of the fastest growing sports in Larne Borough, and one that's prominent throughout tonight's awards. I've had the privilege of hearing Michael at another function. I was delighted to hear that the forum secured his appearance for tonight. His story is inspirational, and his achievements of the highest calibre. We always want our guest of honour to inspire everyone that's here on the evening, and I know that Michael is a superb person to do just that. Along with Michael, our Sporting Stars of 2014, we are once again joined by our Sporting Stars of yesteryear, and I'm delighted to see members of our very own Hall of Fame here tonight to support the awards once again. As a borough, we're very proud of all our Hall of Fame inductees, and I'd like to welcome Diane, Trevor, David, Curly, Paul and Mark, who are able to be with us tonight. And I'd also like to thank them, along with Anne Lang and Hilary Brady, who unfortunately can't be here, for their continued support to local sport. Tonight, we will once again induct a worthy local nominee to join our impressive Hall of Fame. I would like to thank Larne Borough Sports Forum for adopting PIPS Larne as the chosen charity for this evening. PIPS provide an increasingly in-demand support mechanism for local people, for those who have to deal with the impact of suicide or those contemplating it. Those who opt to donate tonight will be placed in a prize raffle to win a return ferry crossing for a vehicle and 2 people, kindly donated by our friends at P&O Ferries. Finally, it leaves me only to wish everyone an enjoyable evening, and all tonight's nominees the very best of luck. And I hope events like this will spur them and others to continue to represent and promote Larne positively through the power of sport. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like now to officially mark this ceremony open. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's move things on. Each year we strive to attract a big name in sport to speak as part of the evening, as Martin has already said, and this year's guest certainly fulfills that criteria. In recent times, Dr. Michael Mckillop, a Ballymena athlete, has been hailed as one of the greatest Paralympians of all times. Competing for Ireland, his athletics career to date has yielded a total of 3 Paralympic gold medals at the Beijing and the London Games. He's won 2 IPC World Championship gold medals along with an IPC European Championship gold. Now, if this particular medal haul wasn't enough, he then has smashed world and Paralympic records along the way, and is the current world record holder at 800 metres and 1500 metres disciplines. Such was the manner in which he has achieved gold at the London Games. This outstanding sportsman was presented with the prestigious Wang Yong Dai Award. We may hear about that soon. It's an award which is given to the athlete who most exemplified the spirit of the Paralympic Games. Now, before I introduce this year's guest, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and let's see the man in action. This is really, really worth seeing.
4 years of preparation, less than 2 minutes in which to channel it and deliver gold. So you can review what we do. 20 years in this business, how you sell songs, she wins. Already, Mckillop is stretching 6 or 7 meters ahead of Brad Scott. These several miles be good for your health, to keep them trying rounds on the shelf. Live long life. It's a one-man race. The lead is 25 meters. It's a golden night for Ireland. Gold for Michael Mckillop. Michael Mckillop in the Queen of Ireland on the inside lane, who instantly goes to the front.
Hold on now. Hold on to the dreams, and I see you there. I know you're well prepared. Put aside all your fears, I will answer all your prayers. Might seem that no one cares. Been working hard for years. Keep climbing up the stairs. Gotta know that you are already there. Blood, sweat, and the tears now. None of them can take your shares now. Enemies better be aware now. Champions got a lot to bear now. I'm gonna tell you this, I'm gonna swear now. I am the tiger, I got the stare now. Carry on until we see the sun. We're holding on. Hold on to the dream. Hold on. Hold on now. Hold on and believe. Though we already won, we're still
Waving to the crowd, Michael Mckillop. What a character he is.
It's impressive.
Both sides.
I don't think he's going for the world record. He's going for the gold medal, and he's going to enjoy this last 100 meters, that's for sure.
It's gold for Michael Mckillop of Ireland.
hold on to the dream. We're still hold on. We carry on, we still stay strong. Today is long, but tomorrow will come. Hold on now. Hold on to the dream. Although the road is long, we still hold on. We carry on, we still stay strong. Today is long, but tomorrow will come. Hold on now.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Michael Mckillop. Well, first of all, Mo Farah has the Mobot. Give us your version of it. There we go. Did we get a photograph of that one, Bernie?
I have to say one thing, even though it's called the Mobot, whenever I did it in London 2012, there is an image of me doing it in London 2012, it's called the Mckillop. So, as you can see from that image there, it's called the Mckillop.
There we are, the Mckillop bot. When you look back to 2012 and the Paralympics, do you ever pinch yourself thinking, I mean, did it really happen? It may sound like a silly question, but I mean, it was just unbelievable.
To be perfectly honest, looking back at it now, it's 3 years ago. In a way, in my running career, it's a distant memory. It's a wonderful memory, it's a distant memory because I've been lucky enough to go on to win World Championships, European Championships. And for an athlete, it's goal setting every single year. So whenever one event is over, you have to review and then set new goals and new targets, and that's what happens every single year. So for me this year, I've got World Championships in October in Qatar, so they're my main aim. And then as soon as Qatar's over, fingers crossed it goes well, but it's right into Rio, and that's kind of what my life's about.
And we'll come back and talk about Rio, but what about that Wang Dai one that I mentioned? What, you know, some people may not necessarily know very much about that. Just how prestigious is it?
It's quite prestigious, to be perfectly honest. The award was given to me. It was given to one male and one female at the games, so I was chosen out of 4,000 males at the games across all sports. I was nominated by our chef de mission at the championships, and the reason why he chose me was because he thought I was a good candidate for it. My background not only is in sport, but obviously growing up with a disability, I like to make sure that disabled people have the same right, have the same respect, and have the same understanding as anyone else or any able-bodied person. So I went around primary schools across Northern Ireland and Ireland teaching small kids from the age of 4 to up to the age of 10 about disability, about disabled people and about disability sport, and showing that everyone's different. It doesn't matter if you have a disability or you do. Everyone can take part in sport and can do everyday things. It's just about adapting small things. So with also that, I've broken down barriers by competing on the able-bodied scene. I've been lucky enough to be brought up as an able-bodied child and compete able-bodied, and I've also went on to compete for Ireland able-bodied underage level.
And that makes you quite unique.
Yeah, I was the first ever Paralympic athlete to compete for their country in an able-bodied European Championships.
Let's go back and talk about London 2012. I know you've done so many other things since then, but in terms of Paralympic sport, surely London 2012 must have done so much to get it up in there to, you know, what can only be described as the mainstream, because we were watching it on television, it was flat out. I can remember in the very early days of the Paralympics. Welcome to Larne. In the early days of the Paralympics, you would have maybe have got a wee bit of coverage on the news, but that would have been about it. But London 2012 seemed to change all that.
At the paramilitary games in London 2012, I guess having the opportunity to be in front of the TV, in terms of the TV coverage, I was in front of every single person, every single day, all day, every day. And it gave a great indication that Paralympic sports and disability sport is elite sport. It's not for people that are just going to train 1-2 days. This is my job. I train every single day. I train 7 days a week, sometimes twice a day. So I'm not going to take part. I'm going there to win. I'm going to be the best. And as you see from the photos and the video, and also from the video, the music playing in the background, Hold On. If you listen to all them words, that was a song that I listened to before I went onto the track, and it's talking about holding on to your dream. It's talking about being determined. The blood, sweat, and tears, everything that goes into it, is left on the side, and then it's you on your own on the track, and it's a hard, tough place to go, because if it doesn't go right on the day, or your head's not right in the day, then you're not going to win. So luckily in 2012, my whole team, my scaffolding I would call them, got me to that starting line in perfect shape and mentally in the right way. And being able to go on and win that was not only brilliant for myself, but also for them, and also for everyone in the island of Ireland.
Behind every great athlete, it's usually a great coach. Your coach just happens to be your dad.
Yeah, and I think the reason why I have been so successful is down to my dad. I'm not just saying that because he's my dad, but he knows me inside out. He knows me the day I was born and until now, and the great success comes from that, the relationship. There is a father-son relationship, but as soon as you walk onto that track, it's a professional relationship. It's not talking about the dishes that I didn't do or didn't pick up my laundry or anything like that. It's about, right, you're doing it this time, you've got to kick at a certain point, you've got to work on these things, and I just have to listen to him and have respect that he knows, because he's got knowledge that I don't know. And it's the same way with working with a physio. I'm not a physio, so I'm not going to know all about injuries, so I have to trust them. And that's what I talked about scaffolding. I have a team around me, and I have to trust in them to be able to get me on that start line.
You compete in the T37 category. Maybe it's just me, but I'm not so sure whether I like that title or not. It's, you know, giving something that's so specialist a number. How do you feel about that?
To be perfectly honest, I haven't really thought about that. I've just been given that category, and that's the category of disability that I'm in. Ranging from T32 to T38, that's the disability I have. The disability I have is cerebral palsy, so that affects my right side. I was born with it. I had a stroke in the womb, so for me that's just normal. It's like saying to Jason Smith, one of my best friends who competed at the Paralympic Games as well, he's been partially sighted his whole life. He doesn't know what normal eyesight is. So for me, running around a track with a gimpy leg, as I call it, I don't know any different. That's just me. That's
I was going to ask you about that, because as an adult and as a world champion athlete, how does it affect you day by day having cerebral palsy?
Cerebral palsy is, I wouldn't classify it as a disability. The only disability is a bad mindset. And I've been brought up with able-bodied parents, able-bodied sisters. So for me, I don't have a disability. The only way the disability can affect me is whenever I start to get tired. The fine motor skills on my right side aren't as good. My fine muscle definition, muscle tone isn't as good, so it's not as strong. So that my right side is a lot weaker than my left. But being able to be in the gym and having the strength and conditioning coach, they're there to help balance out both sides and compensate for the bad side. And whenever I step on the track, then I'm a lot more balanced. I don't have to be like a ballerina and balance, but you do have to have a sense of balance on that track, because that's where the motion has to go forward, not up. And with having the correct amount of balance, it's going to make you go faster.
So in terms of training then, what's a typical day for Michael Mckillop?
It's definitely not early hours, because I can't do early hours, so I'll be perfectly honest, my day
doesn't make you a bad person?
No, it doesn't make you a bad person, but I have to say it probably started about 9 o'clock and go for a morning run. And for me, whenever I'm in winter season, it's a lot of miles. So in terms of a Monday, you'd be talking 5-6 miles in the morning. And then you would come home and you would get your breakfast and chill out. Sometimes I'd play FIFA. That's my way of relaxation. And then I would get up in the evening and go for a 9 mile run at a little bit more high intensity. The 5-6 mile run in the mornings, just to kind of wake you up, kind of get your legs moving, and then whenever in the evening you're woken up a little, you're going to be hitting it hard, and so on. It's just, loads of people say to athletes, so how far have you run today? It's sometimes people don't understand that it's about the intensity of the training rather than the length of it. So on Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, it's all about intense speed training or intense endurance-based sessions. But for me, it's balanced out, because with my disability, my dad can't push me to the same like an able-bodied person, because I'm just going to tire really easy. And not only that, I got diagnosed at the age of 14 with epilepsy, so for me, having epilepsy, it affects my run as well, because I can't train as hard, because if I tire myself out, I can lead to a possible fit.
I was watching the satellite channels one night and you happened to pop up in a swimming pool. Would you spend some time in the pool?
Yeah.
Or was that for a particular reason?
Yeah, that was sadly for a particular reason. I got injured last year and I had damaged the cuboid and chipped a bit off the bone. And a tendon had swollen up and there was a lot of swelling around it, so I couldn't run for 7 months. And like I said earlier on, it's my job, so it's 7 days a week. So whenever you can't do something, it's quite hard to take, and it really is. It's depressing.
Is it a real mental game you're having to play?
Don't get me wrong. I don't care if you're a sports star at any level. The sport gets tough, and there's good days, there's bad days. You win, you lose. But whenever it's your full-time job and you're meant to be doing it 7 days a week, it does get to you. And with the amount of support that I have, and my girlfriend who's along with me today, they've been brilliant support, and I wouldn't be anywhere without my family. My family are key parts of my team. My mum's there always to support me. In every single thing I've done, without my mum, I wouldn't be sitting here, because I'd probably more likely be in a wheelchair. So with the amount of support, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, every single thing that they did, they spent bringing me to classes and speech therapy and things. So.
Just thinking back to the 2012 again, because at that time you were under incredible pressure. There were such high hopes for you in the 800 and the 1500 metres. Just what was that pressure like for you?
The pressure really did get to me, because there was media attention, a massive media attention, because it was classified as a home games for us. And going there, and it was kind of 4 gold medals for the Golden Boys, me and Jason. And we were expected to win 4 gold medals. So if I had come off that plane back in Dublin with a silver medal, it would have been classified as a failure. And if you look at the amount of medals that we have in Ireland, and in Northern Ireland, there's not many Olympic or Paralympic gold medals. So for me to be kind of have in my head that it would be a failure to come second, that was quite tough to take. But again, being mentally focused and determined of one thing, and that's coming across the line first. No one on that day was going to beat me, no one. And I believed that, and if I believed in myself, I knew I was going to do it, because I'm the type of person, when I put my mind something to do it, I'll do it. And on the day, don't get me wrong, the nerves set in before I actually went out on the track. I vomited 3 times. But that's just one thing that happens to me because I build it up. I build things up so much and I think about things so much that I kind of panic myself. But once again, having people around you can't settle me down, and I went onto the track, and as you've seen, I went on to win the 2 gold medals.
That particular part of the footage where we saw you waving to the crowd, what was that? Was that just pure elation, or was that a bit of cockiness? In other words, look, I'm home and dry here.
No, to me, looking at that video back, every single person says, "Are you being cocky?" I'm not the type of person to boast. I'm not the type of person to shout out that I'm the best or anything like that. I was saying thank you to the crowd, because that circle that we were running around is like a stage. It's like people coming onto a stage and giving you a show. They're there, they pay to come and watch you, and they bow and thank you at the end. So why shouldn't an athlete coming across the line thank the people? So yes, I did have a gap, and I was lucky enough to have that gap that I could say thank you.
But the thought that crossed my mind when I watched it was, I thought to myself, is that going to affect his time?
To be perfectly honest, the major championships times means nothing. It's about winning the medals, it's about winning that gold medal. And that's pretty much, I know it sounds stupid, but that's all that people care about. And to me, there's other times that I can try and break world records. And whenever the world record's not on, I'm happy to settle for a gold medal.
There was a bit of footage there showing your mum, who must have surprised you when she came forward to present the gold to you. I take it that was an emotional moment for you, given just how much you love your mum and you respect her for what she's done for you since you were a child.
Yeah, I say it every single time that I show the video, it doesn't matter who I'm speaking to, I will admit that's the best 5 seconds I will ever spend with my mum. The reason being is that was the second ever time, that was for the 1500 metres, that was my second race, but in the 800 metres she had never seen me race ever at a major championships. So for me, not only the pressure of winning a gold medal for my country, it was a pressure of running in front of my mum for the first ever time. And the relief, obviously, you see whenever she comes out and presents me with the medal, but I think it was a little bit of emotional happiness because the amount of hard work that I probably put my mum through over the years, and for us to come out the other end and stand there and deliver the medal, it was just something that I'll never forget.
But a complete surprise.
I didn't have a clue. I actually got told before I went into the medal procession by my dad that, or before I actually went onto the track, if I won, I would get a surprise. And I thought, I went into, and I spent 10 minutes in the call room in front of all my competitors thinking, what's my dad going to buy me? So I was thinking of cars, I was thinking of a holiday, I was thinking so many different things, and then whenever actually that happened, and I'll be perfectly honest, and I know it sounds corny, but that's better than anything.
That's nice to hear. We'll talk about Rio to conclude very shortly, but before that, where are you training at the moment?
I'm based at the Institute of Northern Ireland, which is in Jordanstown, and I've been lucky enough to be a part of that institute for the past 7 years, and they're the major part of my scout and my team, and I'm based there pretty much every day.
Is that the same place that Tommy Bowe goes, or has been?
He has been there, yeah. You've got a lot of different athletes. You've got the boxers, and Jason Smith as well, the Paralympic gold medalist. You got Bethany First, the Paralympic swimmer, and so on. Like you've got Paddy Barnes, Michael Conlon, and you walk in there and you realise how much talent that Northern Ireland has. It's incredible. It really is. And if you went down there and you were a sports fan and you wanted autographs, you could run around that whole building. But it's funny because it's where all the students go to. So you think about how many athletes, world-class athletes you see on TV every single day. I still walk in and I see Paddy or McConlon, and I watch them on TV, or I will watch Glenn Irwin, a motorcyclist, and I will watch him in Eurosport. But actually they're friends as well because I sit and talk to them every single day. But to me, being based at the institute is brilliant because they're like a family. another extended family that I like to have, because for me sport is fun. Yes, you have to be competitive, yes, you have to have a serious head on whenever you step to the starting line, but all the other parts, you have to be having fun. You got to enjoy yourself, because if you don't enjoy yourself, what's the point to it?
You know, as you probably know, at the end of this month, the council set up around Northern Ireland will change, and we'll have what they call the 11 super councils. And I suppose there, among those councils, there'll be people who think, well, how are we going to make our super council district better than the rest? Is there anything that Northern Ireland really needs by way of training facilities for athletes? Because people are looking at you and as an inspiration. They want to be you, they want to be even better than you. But to be better than you, they need the infrastructure in place. So what do we need, and what might give the Mid and East Antrim District Council that edge in the sporting field?
I know it sounds stupid, and it's a lot of money, but whenever you're talking in councils, and I know there's pay cuts and everything, so I don't want to talk about money, but to be perfectly honest, we have the Mary Peters track in Belfast. I'm from Newton Abbey, and I've requested a track in Newton Abbey, or I've suggested it in front of councillors, and I suggested it in front of the Belfast mayor 2 years ago, and they all laughed. But to be deadly serious, Dame Mary Peters is one. She's like a second mum to me. She takes me under her wing, and she looks after me. But
yeah, we've had Mary here at the event.
Mary here as well. So to have her track there, so why don't we have the northern part of Antrim have our own track?
Would an indoor track be an option, given our weather conditions here?
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, there was a petition put in trying to get a track, an indoor track put in Belfast, and it was declined. And to be perfectly honest, the Jordanstown University campus that's shutting down because everyone's moving into Belfast, I think that's a perfect location, but more than likely it's going to be housing.
Okay, so given your experience then, you're saying there is an opportunity to be had here?
Oh, of course. But I just don't think it should be just one sport. I think it should be multi-sport, and that's where you should house the institute. Because if you look at it, you've got so many different professional sports, professional people that get talked about in the institute that needs high performance kind of facilities. And with that, not only can the professionals do well, bringing in younger developing athletes, that's also important, because I'm not going to be here forever. I'm not going to be winning gold medals until I'm 60. So I need someone else to come along and take my spot. And I wouldn't want them to be from Tunisia. I want them to be from Ireland, Northern Ireland. That's the key point. And it's being able to develop the athletes. Just like the athletes that are winning awards tonight, young athletes that aspire to be at the top. You need the infrastructure, you need the support for these athletes to gradually get up to that scale, because it's like I goal set. I don't just go and win a Paralympic gold medal in Rio by saying I'm going to do it. There's baby steps. It's like, how do you make yourself taller? You can step on your toes, you can stand on your tippy toes, you can put your arms in the air, but also you can stand and see. That makes you the tallest person in this room. That's 3 steps. For me to win a Paralympic gold medal in Rio, you're going to be talking 10, 12 steps, but they're small baby steps that'll gradually get that one goal. And it's exactly the same with an infrastructure to developing athletes, to developing kids, not only from Larne, from Newton Abbey, from Belfast, to collectively come together as a country to go and compete at the Paralympic Games, Olympics, Commonwealth Games. So it's all about developing athletes.
You mentioned Rio 2016. That's the next big thing, not necessarily for you, but certainly in the world's the global sporting calendar that's there. You must have been disappointed when it was announced that the T37 category in which you ran the 800 metres was to be dropped. Is that still the case?
To this date, it currently is. Yes, I will be going to Rio, and sadly I'll only be able to run in one event, but my main aim is to win that event. That's what I have. You got to grab things, and my chance is to make my own history and winning another Paralympic gold medal, because I want to win as many gold medals as possible before I retire. And if that's 1 in Rio, or if the 800 metre comes back in and being able to get 2, that's what I want. I just want to continue to win. and having a mindset of the winning, but you also have to prepare. You also have to have fun. You also have to just take part and enjoy it. Because I compete against able-bodied people, and I know I'm not the best in the field. So whenever I compete in a local Northern Irish race, even though I'm the best paralympic athlete, I'm not the best able-bodied athlete. So I inspire to beat the able-bodied people. And I step on the starting line with no excuses. Whenever I compete against able-bodied people, I don't have a disability. That's not an excuse. The only excuse is it wasn't good enough. And that's what I aspire to be, the better person every single time that I step in that line.
What you do though is a solo sport, but do you feel that is necessary for you to be putting something back in to the sport? Not even just athletics, or not even to Paralympics, but generally to sport in general. And if that is the case, what are you doing to try and bring other people on?
Yeah, well, I've had the pleasure of becoming an athlete mentor with the Sky Sports Living for Sport programme. Anyone that has Sky in the house or Virgin or has a Sky Sports bundle, you will see this all over. You got David Beckham, you got Johnny Wilkinson, you got Jess Guinness. They're all the big promoters. So they all the big images, and then I do the donkey work. So I go into all the primary schools, or into the secondary schools. I go in and I tell my story to kids. I go in and develop the programme that Sky Sports have brought on board. And it's trying to get kids inspired. And this programme, and I'm not just saying it because I work for it, but it is an unbelievable programme because they've taken 6 key points that international athletes have to use to win and be successful, that kids can relate to in their every single day life. That's mental toughness. Everyone has to have a bit of mental toughness because not everything goes right. You gotta have to have the knowledge of the sport that you're taking in. There's going to be a handful of sports that are going to be up for an award, so you need to know about your sport, and it's breaking down barriers and goal setting. There's only 4 of the 6, but they're key factors. And for me, going into them schools trying to inspire kids, not that they just take part in sport, but also trying to get kids to speak. Some kids are mutes, going in and trying to speak to them, but also trying to build confidence, behavioural issues that we go into. And it's great for me because I get to see a difference in kids. And it's just giving them a tennis ball and playing a silly game with a tennis ball, or playing dodgeball, and their personality jumps out when you give a kid an opportunity. And I think that's why sport's so important. And for me, when I was growing up, from the age of 3, even though I had a disability, my parents used sport as my physio. So I played every game under the sun, or every sport under the sun. And that's why, in my opinion, I am the sportsman that I am, because I know every single sport inside out. I can play probably every sport inside out at a decent enough level, but I've chosen athletics to be an expert at.
Well, there's absolutely no doubt about it. You've certainly inspired people here in the room tonight, Michael. We do appreciate you coming along to be with us tonight. Not only to tell us your story and share with us your success, but also to inspire others. And I'm sure you'll get a chance to talk to some of our athletes, and our wonderful athletes. And we've got plenty of them in Larne, as you're about to discover. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, and we'll see you again when we're doing the presentation of the awards. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Michael Mckillop.